this is the first time the Warriors have gotten this little help from players. Well, I'll just say, no, I'll include Poole here, 6 through 13. The drop-off is that stark.
Here's another one from the 415. Pick up Mo Bamba from China for instant inside defense. Mo Bamba's with Orlando. Taco Fall he's playing in China, and Dwight Howard, but Mo Bamba actually is playing for the...
I think Dwight Howard is in Taiwan, is he not?
That's not, we don't call that China anymore. I mean...
It's a separate country.
Yeah, well, they used to all be China. I apologize.
Well, he's in
Taiwan.
Okay, well, when Genghis Khan was alive, China went all the way to Bucharest.
And you should have heard sports talk in those days. It was great.
Yeah, okay, better than this.
888-957-9570. Mike in San Pablo joins us, 95.7 The Game. Thanks for hanging on, Mike. What do you got?
Gentlemen, my mind's thrown after that Taiwan comment, I'll be honest. The Warriors' future, I'm really excited about it. While they are in a little bit of a downward spiral because of a championship hangover, I don't think it could be argued that they have maybe some of the best trade chips in the league, and I don't see much of a worry. Enjoying the show. Let's keep geopolitics out of it. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mike. I didn't mean to venture into that.
Geopolitics?
Well, we were talking about Taiwan and China, and Dwight Howard.
Well, how is that that's geography?
Yeah. That was my mistake.
No. Yeah, and you know what your mistake was?
What's that?
You pressed that button.
No. Mike's a very intelligent caller.
Yeah, but he's going to lecture us on something we didn't do.
That's fine.
No, it's not fine. These
fine
people need to be called to account.
We move on to this. Well, Mike says the Warrior future is bright. Steve Kerr said this to Ramona Shelburne, your friend of the show, in a fine piece on Klay that was at ESPN.com today. Steve Kerr's talking again, as he did during Kevin Durant's last year here, about how this is going to come to an end. Quote, "It can only last so long. We know this isn't going forever. This could be the last year. Maybe next year is the last year. We're in the final stages. We know that. We want to make the most of it." End quote. Steve Kerr will be with us tomorrow, right, Lucas? So what do you make of that, Ray? I'm not saying, this is hugely significant, but it is interesting to me that is what the coach is thinking and feels that, it's time to be public with these thoughts.
He tends to like to speak in franker terms than most on stuff that, doesn't really matter because it's more of a misdirection than anything else. I don't think anyone views the Warriors as not a championship contender. But I think he's being confronted with a series of problems that he's never been confronted with as a coach before. And the first is no bench. The second is mediocre defense, which only now is starting to get squared away. And I think Kerr is always mindful of the fact that there's still 75% of the season still to play.
Do you think this is part of what's going on? You've got the coach, and he talked about this especially early in the season, a sense of desperation that he needed to see that he wasn't seeing from the team. Do you think the coach is trying to get the team's attention, whereas the team is more, we won the championship last year, things aren't going well, but we'll figure this out? Is the coach feeling the need right now to, hey, this is a real situation we have here. Players, we need to address these things and get better now.
I wouldn't put that past him to try to use somebody in the media to get a message out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that is necessarily the facts on the ground. I think Kerr is someone who recognizes that when you've only played 14 games, it means you have 68 left to go. There's plenty of time for stuff to change, for the better and for the worse. I mean, that's the thing.
Their margin just going to change on its own. It ain't just going to change.
Yeah, their margin for error is thinner as they get older. And I think that's sort of the looming specter in the background.
Steph Curry told your friend Ramona Shelburne, quote, "There's not anything graceful about things ending ever. We understand that, but you can't worry about that when we step on the court because it takes away from it. We wouldn't have won the finals last year had we let that be in our thoughts." So Steph's deal, it's there, but we just have to plow forward. One of the issues that has to do with all that is Klay, he's not playing well. Jordan Poole plays well when he starts, so should Klay be coming off the bench? And I think we broke that down yesterday. It's like, that's not an option right now for the Warriors. And it's not so much a matter of, well, they owe it to him. Klay is in such a, I would say, fragile state right now that if you send him to the bench, there's a chance you're going to lessen the possibility of getting close to full Klay by the end of the year. I will say, though, the solution to this, Ray, in my opinion, and this would be a very strength in numbers like thing, if Klay ever at some point were to say, you know what, I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'll get back there, I'll come off the bench. I don't even know if Steve Kerr would accept that offer, but that would be the solution to this whole issue of whether you start Poole or Klay. If
No, it
Klay
doesn't,
said,
but-
I'm willing to come off the bench.
But that's a false issue because the stats we talked about in the last segment indicate that they are a worse team when Thompson's not on the floor, even though he's not shooting well. You know, people are looking at the box score and saying, oh, he's having a terrible year. In fact, he's not having a Thompson year.
He's having a terrible shooting year. I mean,
Okay,
really bad.
but they're still 12 points worse when he's off the floor. That's got to count for something. And I think Kerr is recognizing that.
But I think it's not that, those numbers, plus, minus, and all that, those are not really individual numbers.
No, but
You're talking about him, it's because he's not,
No,
it's
but
not
that-
like him out there by himself.
yeah, but when you take him out,
No, I know.
the result is worse. Mm-hmm. So until the result is either even or better, you make the team weaker by not starting him. And in fact, Kerr can find ways to get 30 minutes for Jordan Poole, even though he wouldn't be starting. I kind of feel that if Jordan Poole is still hung up on being a starter in his fourth year, I think that's on him. I mean, if there are minutes for him that are sufficient, you know, for him to do whatever it is he needs to do, then that shouldn't be a problem.
It cuts both ways. It's a great point you raised yesterday. Pardon me. I apologize for interrupting. But you said yesterday, hey, he can't be distracted by that. There have been some great sixth men who have been fueled by that. I should be starting. But you're right. If it's something that motivates him, great. But if it's something that's affecting his play when he comes off the bench, you're 100% right. That can't be the case.
No, I mean, at some point, it can't be about the prestige of being a starter. Because the prestige of being on the floor at the end of a game is, whether you like it or not, bigger and more impressive. Because what you're saying then is, we need this guy now. And you don't need really anybody in the first quarter, because very few games get won in the first quarter.
888,
with the
yeah.
single exception of Kings Nets.
888-957-9570. Actually, I think that was the second quarter, because it was like 40-40, and then like the Kings just blitzed them. Lamar in San Jose joins us on 95.7 The Game.
No, they're already up 6 then.
How are you, Lamar?
Doing pretty good, man. I want to say this about leadership with Stephen Curry. He's such a leader. Remember when he got injured before in the playoffs or whatnot, or before the playoffs, and he came back. And as he came back, he was injured, but he also seen that Poole was doing pretty good. So he took that leadership on going to the bench and letting Poole do his thing and say everything until he felt the need to come back into the starting lineup. I feel like Klay should look in that way, be a leader, be a champion, and take on that role. We're not saying start on the bench forever. We just want to see something different in that starting lineup with Poole, and then you come back once you gain your mojo. Then you come back and you get in that starting lineup. Just the simple fact that you're just coming off an injury. We know you're 100%, but right now you're struggling, man. And Anthony Lamb is outshowing all of them for right now.
He is. Thank you, Lamar. And we talked about that yesterday with Money Poole. That is the real surprise of this season, the way Anthony Lamb, or I think Klay calls him lamb chops, doesn't he, Ray? The way he's playing. Klay said some really interesting things. And by the way, Lamar, you're right. We talked about that yesterday. How last year when Steph was hurt and he said, I'll come off the bench, how he clearly was sending a message to Jordan Poole. And he practically said, I'm doing this to send a message to Jordan Poole. But here's what Klay had to say when he was talking to Ramona Shelburne. He admitted that he felt at his best. Here's the quote. Pardon me. It took me a moment to find it. The best I ever felt was in 2019. I know I can't get back there, but even if I get to 90% of that, still hell of a player, still a hell of a championship team, end quote. That's the first time that publicly I've heard Klay say, I know I can't get back there, Ray. I think that's very significant. I don't know if he can or can't, but just him saying that is very significant.
I think it's, I don't know if saying it is significant. It's believing it that is significant. And I think the evidence, really, when the second injury happened, I think everybody started hedging their bets about what he'd be like when he came back.
Isn't it also true that if he hadn't gotten hurt at all, that he still might not be the same player right now that he was?
I think it's less likely.
But it's possible. I mean,
anything's possible. I mean, Stephen Curry could go 0 for his next 46. I just don't think that's the way to bet.
I'm just saying there is a natural, regression.
Okay,
due to
but
age.
One of the things that we've seen with this group is not that they're not getting older, but they're not getting worse when they're together. So I would say the chances of him starting to decay, even if he was healthy, are negligible to the point of being almost invisible. I think he'd still be a tremendous player. He's not a tremendous player today, but I think, had he been healthy, I see no reason why he wouldn't be. But because if nothing else, even if he slowed down by 5%, or let's just take your argument 10%, he's still playing with guys who know what he does, and he's playing with guys who he knows what they do. And there's an advantage to that veterans get to have, because that's historical knowledge that young guys have to build up on their own. So he's, we're talking about a hypothetical here that cannot exist because he did have the second injury. But, again, until Steve Kerr can be convinced that they're somehow worse when he's on the floor rather than off, he's going to start and he's going to play. And I think the argument about should Jordan Poole start has to stop and end at no, because the guy who makes that decision has made it clear that he doesn't start.
Got some names being mentioned by some of the smartest listeners in Radio Ray on the Xfinity mobile text line.
If they don't mention Pilatel, I don't want to hear
He's already been mentioned.
No. If they're not on the Pilatel bandwagon, they don't know basketball.
Joel Pilatel, right?
Joel.
Rabbit45, hey guys, great show. Hey, I want them to read my thing. So, hey, great show. Appreciate it, though.
You're idiots. Keep reading.
How about giving Boogie another go? And then someone mentions, of course, the great Kevin Durant, which, I'm telling you, after the way they played last night, I'm not taking that off my board of possibilities.
You should.
Why?
A, he doesn't want to come back here. And B,
I don't know
the
about
Nets
that.
don't want to move him. He's their only credible player right now.
But I do think at some point, maybe soon, they're going to look at the reality of the situation and say, this ain't working, and our best case here is to try to recoup some of our losses.
Fine.
They already have a pick swap.
What are the Warriors giving up for Kevin Durant?
Well, because the Nets gave up so much future draft capital, they would be potentially really interested in some young players with upside. They would be like draft picks. Wiseman would be one of those guys. They also have a pick swap already set with Houston. Well,
Houston's keeping that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. There is no match with the Warriors.
I think there could be.
No, that's preposterous.
It's not preposterous if things continue to unravel for them and they're looking for future assets. If they change their course of action completely, if they go from we're all in to oblivion, we need to start a rebuild.
And you think it makes sense for them to build around the Warriors package of young guys?
I didn't say build around. That was your term, but I can see how they'd be interested.
If you're trading your best player, you've got to get something. You've got to get a foundational piece for the future in return. And the Warriors don't have, first round picks to give away. What they've got is the first round picks they've already used.
Just keep an eye on it. Right now, with Durant saying, I'm happy here, it doesn't appear to be on the radar. But if they continue to go the way they're going and the Warriors continue to go the way they're going, we could potentially have a match down the road. But not yet. Not yet. I'm not willing to. As far as Boogie goes,
No, that's done.
Not interested.
Well, it doesn't matter whether you're interested. I don't think anybody's interested.
He is.
Well, he is, sure.
Although he's already said on Twitter, I want to join the Kings and help them make the playoffs. So that's what he wants to do.
Well,
anytime, Ray, a guy begs to join a team or a coach.
Anytime a guy begs to join the Kings, because even with last night's performance, And
Got a
even
winning
with the
record
fact
now.
that they're 7-6,
Light the beam.
even with you acting like Robin, they're still the Kings until proven otherwise. Now, at 4 o'clock, when Sacramento picks us up, I will change my tune, but
Okay.
because I'm a hypocrite. Because
Right.
I don't care what comes out of my face.
Right.
I'm here for the benefits and the donuts.
The Kings have won a road game. The Warriors have not. The Warriors need to take care of that, and it's not going to be easy tonight. Chris Paul, someone mentioned Steph loves to show up Chris Paul. Chris
Well,
Paul
he can tonight, but Chris Paul will be
day to day.
street clothes.
Well, I don't know. The last I saw, he was day to day with a heel injury. I'm not saying he's playing, but he's officially last I saw listed as day to day. So yeah,
if he's still listed as day to day, he's not playing tonight.
I think he's a game time decision right now.
Thank you, Lucas. Okay,
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Lucas,
who you gonna
don't
listen to,
interrupt.
me or Lucas?
What?
Game time decision. He could play. He hasn't been playing, but it's possible, right?
Well, I'd be surprised if he played tonight. Just because why? I mean, beating the Warriors might feel like a big deal to fans, but they get it too. They've only played 14 games.
Next injury report comes out in 20 minutes, so keep you posted.
Looking forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Lucas just said he was planning to do work in 20 minutes. I think we should stop and consider that for a moment.
After shoot-around today, Kevon Looney had this to say about his message to James Wiseman.
Just go have fun and go dominate. Show them who you are. Just don't lose your confidence. When you getting pulled in and out of rotation and got to go up and down from the G League, and you kind of can mess with your confidence a little bit. It depends on how you look at it. So I know I was in that position. I kind of shook my confidence a little bit. So I was just telling about my experiences down there.
So I guess that's job one for Wiseman. Go down and play and find yourself, right? That's the first thing. Play basketball. I mean, he said that. Jordan Poole said that was his advice. First thing is just get down there and know that you're going to be playing a lot of basketball game to game. Get back your sense of, I'm playing basketball today, and forget about what happens if I make a mistake. So we're back to real basics with James Wiseman.
I mean, well, the truth is he is going to make mistakes. That's simply a given, because this isn't going to all of a sudden be a light switch where all of a sudden, eureka, I've discovered everything. Because they don't want to see a box score that says he had 24 with 3 rebounds. They want to see him defend. They want to see him do the stuff that Warrior big men are asked to do. And that's why when people are watching those games or trying to keep track with them, that's the last thing you want to know is how many points he scored. Because it's not about that. It's about, are you doing the stuff they want you to do, and are you feeling good about doing it? Because that's the part of the confidence that I think they're talking about. Because the Warriors are not going to go, well, he just beat the hell out of the South Bay Lakers the other night. That was very impressive. But, he was still -7. That's not going to fly. And I think that's the thing that everybody needs to remember. He's got to get his confidence in this way, not in the regular old street ball, roll it out and do whatever you want way. Because the Warriors don't want him to be that, and they don't need him to be that.
I think it's a colossal disappointment for the Warriors that here they are with Wiseman at this point of the season when they need what he could give them to have to send him down. And they clearly have to. And you can understand why, because of his injuries and his lack of experience. And he's young, but they were counting on more from him. And he was the second pick in the draft. And for them to have to send him down to the G League, I don't know where it goes from here, but it's a colossal disappointment for them at this point.
It's only a colossal disappointment if it doesn't work. It's not a colossal disappointment yet. Colossal means we're done. I don't think they're done with him.
They may be, and they don't know yet. I'm not saying they've decided.
If they're done with him, they'll know. In fact, they'll know before we will.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're done
agree
with him.
that. I think they would know before we knew.
I mean, look, you could make the logical argument that they could have sent Kuminga down just as well. I mean, the thing is, if they're sending him down to get play, that could be a sign that they still believe in him, whereas Kuminga is still trying to find minutes in meaningful games.
I think they believe more in Kuminga.
I don't think anybody knows.
I think you can tell by the way they handle the players. If one guy is playing with Kuminga, when they keep saying we're going to try to get him out there, try to find him a spot in the rotation going back to last year, and he's in the rotation, then he's out, and they keep putting him back in, and they keep putting him back in, and they keep putting him back in. then that shows you that they believe in him. Somebody, and maybe it's all the way up at the top. He's their guy. And Wiseman at this point they've lost some faith in Wiseman, and it's up to him to restore their faith in him. But right now they believe Kuminga's their guy right now still. Wiseman right now is not.